Abusive behavior towards current or former intimate partners is an offense under Section 54D of the Crimes Act, 1900 NSW, which carries a maximum penalty of 7 years in prison. To establish the offense, the prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that 1. You were at least 18 years of age. 2. You engaged in a course of conduct against another person, the complainant. 3. Your course of conduct consisted of abusive behavior against the complainant. 4. You and the complainant were or are intimate partners. 5. You intended by your course of conduct to coerce or control the complainant. And 6. A reasonable person would consider that your course of conduct would be likely, in all of the circumstances, to have caused any or all of the following, whether or not the fear or impact was in fact caused. Fear that violence would be used against the complainant or another person, or a serious adverse impact on the capacity of the complainant to engage in some or all of his or her ordinary day-to-day activities. Abusive behavior is that which consists of or involves 1. Violence or threats against or intimidation of the complainant, or 2. Coercion or control of the complainant. Abusive behavior may include that which causes harm to a child if a person fails to comply with demands made of them, causes harm to the complainant or another adult if the complainant fails to comply with demands made of the person, is economically or financially abusive to the complainant, shames, degrades or humiliates the complainant, directly or indirectly harasses the complainant, or monitors or tracks his or her activities, communications or movements, whether by physically following the complainant, using technology or in another way, damages or destroys the complainant's property, causes injury or death to an animal, or otherwise makes use of an animal to threaten the complainant, or deprives the complainant of his or her liberty, restricts his or her liberty or otherwise unreasonably controls or regulates his or her day-to-day activities, and prevents the complainant from doing any of the following, or otherwise isolating him or her from 1. Making or keeping connections with his or her family, friends, or culture. 2. Participating in his or her cultural or spiritual ceremonies or practices. Or 3. Expressing his or her cultural identity. In relation to economic or financial abuse, such abusive behavior includes withholding financial support necessary for meeting the reasonable living expenses of the complainant or another person living with or dependent on the complainant, in circumstances where the complainant is dependent on the financial support to meet his or her living expenses. Preventing or unreasonably restricting or regulating the complainant seeking or keeping employment or having access to or control of his or her income or financial assets, including financial assets, held jointly with another person. In relation to deprivation of liberty, the definition includes making unreasonable demands about how the complainant exercises his or her personal, social, or sexual autonomy, and making threats of negative consequences for failing to comply with the demands. Denying the complainant access to basic necessities including food, clothing, or sleep. Withholding necessary medical or other care, support, aids, equipment, or essential support services from the complainant, or compelling him or her to take medication or undertake medical procedures. A course of conduct is defined as behavior engaged in repeatedly and/or continuously. Such conduct does not have to be a series of unbroken incidents, nor do the events need to have occurred in immediate succession. It can include conduct within New South Wales as well as that which occurs within the state and another Australian jurisdiction. An intimate partner is someone who has been, or is, married to the complainant, a de facto partner of the complainant, or in an intimate personal relationship with the complainant, whether or not this was or is sexual in nature. Duress, necessity, and self-defense are legal defenses to the charge. In the event you are able to raise evidence of a legal defense, the onus then shifts to the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defense does not apply in the circumstances of the case. You are entitled to an acquittal if the prosecution is unable to do this.
Going to court? Call Sydney Criminal Lawyers on 9261 881 to arrange a free first conference. Watch our latest video here.